Have been. Hey y'all,
How's it going, guys?
I'm Jay,
And I'm Chris the Bird Nerd.
and
And
we
we
are
are the
the
Bird
Bird
Brains.
Brains.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I don't. I'm traveling, but I
You're
do
out
have a
you're out
Cola.
traveling. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's good enough. I actually do have stuff in it this time,
There
so
you
I
go.
haven't blown through it quite yet.
Got to keep the throat and the
Gotta
lips fresh, right? The,
gotta
the
pace
the tip of the
myself.
tongue, the teeth, the lips. Um, yeah. So this will be a pretty quick episode. Had an interesting question from one of y'all, and it's, in my opinion, like pretty low hanging fruit. So I thought we would just address it quickly. Um, and the question was, what do you do about bugs in the aviary? Not not microbes or anything, but like crawly bugs, insects, and specifically mosquitoes. So that's what we're going to talk about today: bugs and birds.
The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. The Bird Brains Podcast with Chris and Jay. Bird Brains, Bird Brains.
I love it, Jay. I think the first thing is you're always gonna have bugs no matter where you live. Don't let that deter you from having birds. Whether it's an outside aviary, an indoor aviary, no matter what climate you live in, you're going to have mosquitoes or ants or everything in between. You probably have a lot more bugs than I do, Jay, with the climate that you live in. Thankfully, in Utah, because of our cold winters, it eliminates a lot of bugs because they can't survive through the cold. But summer times, we get a lot of insects that can come in
Mhm.
and out of the aviaries and whatnot, flying insects, crawling insects, and so it's definitely something to address. And I've lost birds and chicks due to some of these insects in the past in really extreme hot weathers and temperatures. So something that we can definitely address and hopefully help our listeners out.
Yeah, I had got a couple thoughts on it. First, I want to plug our sponsor, though. We got to get used to doing this.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
so um, it's still exciting, still new. This is episode two with sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we're sponsored by New Zealand, still new. This is episode two with sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we're sponsored by New Zealand. It's hard to say it. New Zealand Pets. It's a great name. But I just want to be geographically correct, I guess. And they have on their website, if you go on there, you'll see right now they just have the bird section, but they're going to add other animal
Yeah.
sections. So if you're watching this, I believe reptiles is next.
Got
So
reptiles. Yep.
if you're a reptile keeper like Chris is, like I will be eventually after I talk my wife into it, um, that's what's coming next. So don't think, oh well, if you're watching this and you don't have birds right now, but you do have a bearded dragon or a leopard gecko or whatever you got, that's coming soon. Um, but they've got the Perchville. They basically have it set up like a village or a country, I guess, and there's little regions that handle each thing. It's
Right.
cool if you get on the website and play around.
Yeah.
And so Perchville is the bird section. So if you get in there, you can just view their product catalog like old fashioned online shopping, but they also have a bunch of great stuff for like bird care tips and tricks. It's a lot of big
Yeah.
paired stuff. We're working on getting some more finch stuff on there. Um, but definitely, if you're at work or you got 20 minutes to kill, pop on there, check it out. And oh, by the way, use code BirdBrains
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
get 10% off of everything on the site. And then some point in the future, and I don't want to give away too much, but there's going to be they have a perch box subscription. So you get like a monthly thing with like treats and toys and stuff for your birds. There's going to be a bird brain specific one coming. We're working on
I'm
that. And then
I'm so excited for that one.
I am really excited too because I'm going to get one. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
but we're going to work on a separate discount code just for that too. So that's all coming. We're, thanks to the team over there in New Zealand,
Yeah.
really excited.
And
We're,
and I think one thing to add as well, Jace, we're actively working to add additional products,
mhm.
nesting products, seed products, nutritional products, pest control products, right? All of this tailored to the smaller finch world. So every week it's going to be changing and updating. We're going to be adding things on there, making it more applicable to a lot of our listeners that house or carry similar size birds or species of birds as we do. So just because you looked at it once doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing the next week. We're bringing quite a few different products online here in these next few weeks. So definitely keep checking it out and see what's new on there, and we'll keep you guys updated on the podcast as well and in our individual videos. But yeah, don't be a stranger. Keep checking it out as it's constantly evolving and improving. And I'm really excited about a lot of the products that will be coming and will be available for us.
And I think I said this last podcast too, but if you have something that you're like, I had somebody reach out today
Yeah,
and say, I had such a hard time finding something. Where do you get it? If there's something like that, let us know. We might, I don't know for sure because it's, we have to ask them and then they have to ask their suppliers and whatnot. But if you think you might, it's something you're looking for, you wish you could find more easily, let us know. We're in the process of compiling a list of everything we use, which was a funny conversation because it's very different from the hook bill list. But
yeah,
I have a list of probably like 50 things, and Chris had a bunch of stuff too that I didn't have. So
yeah.
we're working on it. We're really excited to have them. They've been nothing but great. And if you're looking for something and we haven't talked about it yet, or you don't see it on the website yet, drop it in the comment. Tell us, Instagram, DM us, and we'll try to get it added for you.
And the cool thing,
Um,
Jay, is on top of the 10% discount, our first several buyers will also get some free Bird Brains merch along with the purchase that they've made at New Zealand. So keep that in mind and let us know. If you guys went in and bought something, let us know what you thought, how the products work. I actually sent out Jay 3 different orders of Bird Brains merch to our viewers that watched our last video. They made it to the end and they commented, which I told you to do so. And I sent that merch out this morning to you guys. And so we just want to continue to grow this and also show our appreciation to you guys by sending an additional merch out to you guys as a thank you on our end. We don't get paid when you buy these products, but we are helping to sponsor and partner with New Zealand to get more of these products out there and available to you guys for our birds. It's really the benefit of the birds is our view and our goal here. So
yeah, we're not making money. We're getting products to sample and show for y'all and things like that. Maybe one day we'll make money, but for right now, it's really more benefit to y'all than it is to us.
yeah,
Their prices are already good, and then you're getting 10% off. So and it's the good stuff. So
yeah.
we're doing what we can to make it work for y'all. Um, okay, so insects in the aviary, especially in the outdoor aviary. So I think if you got on Google and just Googled like, is this dangerous for birds? I'm sure you'd find a bunch of people that would say yes. Um, and I'll say this, especially with outdoor, I mean, I just had my aviary flood the other day. With outdoor bird keeping, especially, there's definitely more risk than indoor bird keeping. You have got temperature differences, you got bigger critters that are trying to eat them. I mean, there's definitely more risk. However, I also think there's a lot of reward.
I was
You
gonna say
get
the
more
reward
natural
is just as good
behavior.
or better. Yeah,
Yeah, you get. I won't go back. I might in the future have inside birds also, but I'll always have outside birds.
yeah,
You get more natural behavior. You get that climate. You get rain and sun and everything. It's a lot more real to me.
yeah.
But even if you keep indoor birds, I know for a fact in Mobile, Alabama, every once in a while a mosquito gets in my house. There's cockroaches that get in the house. There's
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. So I think about it in two ways, and I'll tell you when I first built my outdoor aviary, I did not have any bug screen on it, and then I had a bird die. I couldn't figure out how it died, and I decided on my own. I was in a very paranoid stage of my bird keeping that it must have been a mosquito. and I tried to put mosquito netting all around, mosquito screen. Then I couldn't really see in the aviary anymore,
Yeah.
and mosquitoes were still getting in, and then they were just trapped in there. So eventually, I decided this is stupid, and I took all the screen off.
Yeah.
I still have obviously the metal cage, but I took the mosquito netting off. And so I have a couple of thoughts on it. First of all, yeah, there are illnesses that they can get from wild birds through a mosquito, hypothetically. Um, I don't want to get too much into insect science. I took an entomology class in college, but the odds of that are pretty low transmission wise. And again, you get mosquitoes in the house too. There are mosquitoes that bite me. It just is what it is, right? We
Yeah.
live in the world. So that being said, I don't worry as much about mosquitoes. I just don't. First of all, a lot of your African species will eat a mosquito,
Yeah.
especially some of them even on the wing. So I've noticed I actually have less mosquitoes around the aviary than I do other places in my backyard,
Yeah.
because they're kind of a natural mosquito eating thing. And then for your insectivorous birds, all your African, some of your other ones, my quail, I get all kinds of crawly little beetles, earwigs, all kinds of crawly little ants, stuff that come in the aviary. And if a bird sees it, they'll eat it. They'll eat it right
Yeah.
then. Spiders, all
Right.
that stuff. If they can even come close to eating it, they will. So it's free live food. The only small insect that I really worry about is actually ants. And it's not from like a disease perspective or anything. It's just that if they find like a newly hatched chick that can't really get away, they'll eat it.
Yep.
So in the past, when I've had big ant issues, I put out like ant bait and stuff in places where birds couldn't get it. And then I also I have a concrete wall in the back of my aviary, and there was a hole in it that birds or that ants were coming through, and I just super glued it shut, and that fixed it. So I
Yeah.
do try to keep ants out. Um, but as a general rule, I don't worry about bugs in the aviary at all. The birds pretty much take care of that themselves in a good way. Is that where you're at with it, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah. You hit it on the head, Jay. And I think we've discussed this in several of our other episodes. It's really a matter of doing your homework, proofing your aviary or your shed to the point where you're trying to eliminate the threats as much as you can, right? Whether it's a large animal, small insect like a mosquito or an ant. I was going to say the same thing, Jay, as far as some of the measures that you can take, natural remedies, right? The button quail, uh, they're a free vacuum. They'll eat your spilled
Mhm.
seed, they'll eat any insect, including ants that crawl around in there. Uh, they do a great job that way. I have had mosquito issues in the past. I live right next to a very large lake, and in the summertime, especially late summer times, we get a pretty big increase in mosquito activity, and I have lost a couple canaries due to mosquitoes. But there's a few other things that I've put out. I've put out like fly traps and mosquito traps in locations that my birds can't get to it, but it traps a lot of those flying insects. I also have this year, I've tried it for the first time. I put a bug zapper in the middle of
I
my
was
bird shed.
I was about to say
And
I do have a fly trap and I do have a
yeah,
bug zapper.
and my bug zapper, I've already cleaned 2 times this year. I mean, it's done a really good job of mosquitoes, flies. We have the
Mhm.
big, I can't remember what they're called, like the crane mosquitoes. They don't actually suck your blood, but they're the big long-legged ones. We get a lot of
Oh
those around
yeah,
here, you know.
we
So,
get those
uh,
too.
and so it's done a really good job. I have that stays on throughout the entire night, while
Hmm.
when my lights turn off, and then all the insects go there. So that actually has been a big help for me this year.
Yeah,
That's the
I've
first
got
year
mine
that
on a
I've tried that.
timer.
Yeah, and I've made a big
Mhm.
difference. I haven't seen any mosquito bites on any of my birds' legs, which in the past, usually canaries for some reason, the canaries it
I
impacts a little
think
bit more
just
than
they're
some of the
just
others.
bigger.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of that this year. So I would say, I mean, those are some of the approaches that I've taken to try to eliminate the insects. I think the button quail is probably your best option for your ground dwelling birds. Like I said, Jay, I don't get as many of the creepy crawly insects as you guys have down in Alabama, where it's hot year round and humidity's through the roof. The summertime, we get grasshoppers, ants, maybe an occasional earwig coming through, but then in the wintertime, it's sparse because it's too cold, right? I worry more about keeping my birds warm than I do about insects crawling in any of the cages. So, but I have in summer times when it gets really hot, one thing to take note of, and I would address, clean your nest boxes often. You can get an increase of mites that can infest your nest boxes. No matter how often you treat your birds in hot conditions, especially when you're in a hot nest box that's moist with chicks, I mean, that's just a that's an invitation for any of some of these creepy crawly bugs to come in and infest those nest boxes.
Mhm.
I've had some chicks that I've lost that flies have come in and laid eggs in there on live chicks, things like this, because it's so hot and damp in there.
Right.
And the mite, it's not the scaly mites. It's a different type of mite that you can
It's a
actually
feather
see that.
mite. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so making sure that your nest box maintenance is up to par. So usually about midsummer, as I'm getting done with my first or second clutches, I'll take those nest boxes down, I'll clean them out and put them back up so they can rebuild and do a third before end of summer, just because it gets to that point that it's just going to damage your birds more if they nest again and it's infested. So that's something to take note of in hot summer months or throughout the year.
Yeah, I'll toss nests, not nests with chicks in them, but once chicks have fledged, if it's even gross at all, I'll just pull the whole nest out, toss it, and let the birds start
Yep,
over. It's just easier
yep,
and sanitary and everything else. Yeah.
yep.
But yeah, I mean, the uh there is one other insect that I do care a lot about and do worry a lot about. And I don't know if you get them in Utah, but we get seed moths
Yeah,
down here like crazy. So I've got two main things to deter the seed moths. I have these pheromone glue trap type things
hmm,
that are enclosed, so birds can't really get in there, but it does get a lot of seed moths. And then I have simplest solution is the best solution. I have an electric, tennis
nice,
racket bug zapper
nice.
thing.
That's my
And
favorite
if you,
toy.
I'll go in there at about 5:30, 6 o'clock, about an hour before lights out, and they're starting to come out, and they all start to fly around, and I'll just kill them all, right?
Yeah.
And if you do that a couple times a week, it keeps that population down, and then you keep all your food and everything that you can secured, and it solves that problem. So, I mean, as far as things I worry about for the aviary, yeah, I mean, weather, big predators, rain, insects, or just general cleanliness and like microbe type bugs,
Yeah.
illness. Insects are way low on the list
Yeah.
as far as
And
things I'm worried about.
and I would say two things. Don't let it deter you from building an aviary. I feel like there's way more pros to an outdoor aviary than there are cons. Um, 100%. And then the
Amen.
second and then the second thing is if you maintain the environment of the birds, whether it's an outdoor aviary, an inside shed, inside your house, you do your regular routine cleanings and maintenance and even maintenance on the birds, right? So, every quarter if you're scatting them or, given all those preventative measures, the chances of you losing birds or having an insect infestation, things like that are limited a lot more because you're taking those proactive measures that you should already be doing regardless if you have an aviary or not, and that will help deter any of those types of infestations. So I would probably just put that along with it. The pros outweigh the cons, but maintain your birds,
You
clean
got
them
to do the
regularly.
work.
Yeah, do the
Yeah.
work and clean them regularly, and you'll be fine for the most part. You may still get mosquitoes flying around, and you put up a trap, throughout certain
Mhm.
locations that it can't affect your birds, and hopefully that'll help. But for the most part, you'd be okay.
Yep. Or you could go like Aladdin and harvest the larvae and feed them to your wax bills.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
turn your nuisance into a blessing. So
There you go. Make lemons out of or lemonade out of your lemons.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for insects. Where can they find you, Chris, if they have an insect question?
Yeah, please reach out. I'd love to hear any concerns that you guys have. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, those are my platforms. All of them are Bird Nerd. Instagram is Bird Nerd 4. I've had quite a few of you reach out to me this last 2 weeks, which is awesome. I've loved answering your questions, making those connections with you guys, seeing the birds that you have, some of the questions that you have with your birds. So it's been really cool and fun. Definitely favorite part that I look forward to in the day. So thank you. Jay, how about you? How can they get a hold of you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously. I'm on Threads, which sucks, and I'm on Reddit. Had some recent Reddit reach outs.
Nice.
So that's fun. Yeah, I mean, if you can't find either of us, drop a comment. We'll try to help. If you can
Yes,
only find
please.
one of us, we'll get you connected with the other one. We want to help. We love doing this. It's fun. I'd rather talk about birds than pretty much anything else besides my wife and kids. So, uh, don't, every time somebody messages me like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to bother you, but like, I have this question. You're not
Yeah,
bothering me. Just ask
absolutely.
us.
Yeah, bring them
Yeah.
on. Bring the questions
If I
on.
don't know, we'll tell you. Um, but yeah, thank you to our sponsors, New Zealand. Check them out. Awesome stuff. And I think that's it. We'll catch you all on the next one.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.